Okay, in this episode, we're going to learn a little bit more about the pen tool on Affinity Designer and the way I used to draw as a kid with paper and pencil. Okay, so as a kid, I used to always look at magazines and look for things to draw. I was talking about like fourth and fifth grade, and at that time, I was a Phoenix Suns fan, and so I'd always be looking for Charles Barkley pictures and different people like Michael Jordan. Not this Charles Barkley, you know, he didn't know what he was doing. This is the Charles Barkley I'm talking about. Okay? So he was the one winning those games. And so he was my hero with Danny Ainge in the back there. Those guys really inspired me. So I was constantly looking for images like that. But what I would do is I'd find an image, and I'm just going to do an example image today, but not of Charles Barkley. But I just found an image that I would like from a magazine, and I would cut it out perfectly with scissors, and then I would trace it. So that's what I'm going to do today, is teach you a modern version of that. So let's just find an image. I looked online and found one, so let's just put it on there. So here's the image. I found something simple that we can work on and learn how to use the pen tool, which is basically a tool that you can use to trace any image. So as you look around, find something that inspires you, and then hopefully if you're younger and trying to learn, I would say learn how to use scissors and paper. But if you're trying to get more acquainted with how to use modern technology, I love this new program called Affinity Designer, and it's for anybody that has an Apple Mac computer or an iPad. With Affinity Designer, it basically acts as Adobe Illustrator. It's a lot cheaper, and I enjoy it. So here we go. We get the pen tool. I'm going to teach you how to use it. First, you find it right here on the left. It's the little one that looks like a fountain pen. And you start by clicking. I have a mouse, so I'm going to left click, and then you go to your next spot that you want to go to that makes sense. Left click and hold, and then you'll see this curve thing. So you can curve to the edge of that hat. As I look at it, I don't like the opacity, so I'm going to turn it way down. And that's about a good color there. And so in order to just continue tracing everything, you need to re-click on your last point. Click with your left button, click and hold, and make the curve that you like. Okay, so as you see, as I drag it up further, it changes the curve style. Okay, so click, go to the next point on a curve, hold, and let go. Click, find your next spot. Sometimes it does this, I'm not sure why. Click and hold, click, try to find the edge with your button there. Click and hold. Click left button. Click and hold. Drag it out. Let go. Click. And on these ones, you just do the curve. That's kind of there it is. Click. Click and hold. Drag. And you just try to duplicate that. When you get to the bottom, you just go to the bottom. Go all the way to the far left. Go all the way to the next point. And then click. Click and hold. Drag. Click. Go to the next part. Drag. Do the smaller one here. Drag the opposite direction. That one's hard to tell. You usually zoom in for things like this. Click and hold. Click. Left click and hold and drag. Whoops, I don't know why I did that. We can still adjust it. Oops, Command Z. If you mess up, I was trying to grab that. Alright, click. You can fix things later. Click and hold. Click and go to the edge. And then last thing, you gotta complete it. Click and click. Alright. So you just cut out your image. I used a red tint. And this is the part where you complete the cutout, if you will. So if I just want these two images cut out from the background, just like a pair of scissors, I'm going to go to the arrow key or the select move tool, and I'm going to go over to my layers panel. So that's why this is called layers panel. You're going to left click your image, and then you're going to drag it up to the curve, and I'm still holding down the left button, and it will do that. Once it does that, I let go, and basically you have your cutout image. And this is where I'm going to talk about what I did as a kid. I would do this exact same thing. Oops. If you hold down shift when you drag something, it will keep it locked into its right perspective. So we have this nice image now. I'm going to zoom out a little so you can see it. Make sure I have it all the way to the edge. Okay. As you look at this image, you can see that it's a lot easier to see what is on a piece of paper that you might have. So what I would do as a kid is I'd cut out the picture of Charles Barkley, and I would get my pencil out, and then I would trace everything around this silhouette. Okay? And so you can see how easy that would be for somebody to do, especially a kid. And so you have this perfect silhouette. You can then move the image over or leave it where it is. But sometimes I would mark out little things like, okay, this is where the hat, starts. This is where this hair meets. This is where the sleeve would start. So I mark little things that I can remember. And as a kid, I would even figure out ways in which, if I didn't know where this nose was, I would get my pencil and I'd kind of push down on the paper with one part of the pencil right there and push down. And then it would leave a little dot on the paper, especially if it had multiple papers behind it. And so as a kid, I figured out that trick, and it really worked for me to learn where things go. But I would really try to pay attention to how this sleeve interacted with the hair, or where this hair would curve when it meets the hat. And so you can have that little conversation as you're drawing, and it really makes you a better artist. And so I really recommend that for kids when they're starting, just to learn about how a shape like a silhouette has all this information inside of it and how to interpret that. And then as I got older, you can also pay attention to negative space and what this shape looks like. It's not a perfect triangle, but it's a triangle and then a little curve. So you can start to pay attention to those shapes and kind of carve out your shape from it. So if I made a straight line here, you can see that that line has a little divot right at the beginning to make that hair shape. And so you can have those conversations with yourself, and it makes you a better artist. The other thing is, we created this shape now, and if I had a canvas the same size of this rectangle, or maybe if it was like a wall with a window, this can really make things scale up really fast. So pretending that this was a big wall and had a window here, and you were going to design a mural, this is a great way to design something. So you cut something out, you can see that you want this couple here kissing, and then you can find some other objects or trees or mountains to go in the background, and you just created a pretty cool scenery that would make a pretty neat mural. So this is why people use Adobe Illustrator and Affinity Designer, is they can scale up things really big and make billboards or different designs, and they can, when they start the project, you make this white space the exact same size as the wall you make, or the exact same size as the canvas you're going to paint on. And so people can design stuff before they even paint it and get an idea of what it's going to look like. And so that's what I recommend, is if you're going to do this, do it with your own images. This image is copyright safe. It's from an old comic book. And so make sure you use stuff that's okay to use. Usually it's best to take your own photos and do your own art, and this will make you a better artist as you get older. Yeah, if you want to look at my website, you can go ahead and check it out at jessejameshunt.com, and follow me on Instagram. And if you liked the video, please subscribe or like it. I'm just getting started and trying to learn this technology, so thanks for following along. Talk to you later.